Hello, welcome again to a trip with our brother, every man, Kaka, as he takes us through the streets of life where dangerous love and marriages live. Next Saturday special, the zombie husband love potion. She fixed her husband a love potion to make him a zombie lover. But she got shocked when she harvested 20 babies. That is next Saturday's special. Widow cleansing saga. Now welcome to Widow cleansing saga. My journey began from here, in the bustling streets of Cape Town, where I live as a fairly comfortable and successful life as a CEO of food processing company. Hey, this is where my nightmare began. Since Mr. Ottoo from the Lakes joined our department as a consultant, we have become close friends. The previous weekend, I took him on a tour of Cape of Good Hope, where the Atlantic Ocean and the Indian Ocean meet in massive waves. If you stand at this Cape of Good Hope in South Africa, you can see the rest of Africa with an eagle's eye. Me and Ottoo stood at the monument of the Cape Town, marveling at the waves and the Cape Town lighthouse that guides ships around the Cape. The next day, very early, Mr. Ottoo called me urgently. I met him at the Cape Town cafe. Ottoo told me he had just received news of the passing away of his sister-in-law, barely 1 year after his brother's death. Holding onto a picture of his brother, I too felt the weight of his loss. Ottoo planned to travel immediately to the Great Lakes to attend her burial. I felt for my friend, Ottoo. In Zulu, we have a saying, Muntu ngumuntu ngabantu, which means a person is a person because of other people. So I offered immediately to escort my friend Ottoo to his home to bury his sister-in-law. The safari to the lakeside was really beautiful. I had never traveled into the interior of Africa, particularly in the lake region. My first view of the Great Lake was, wow! From the lake shore to Mr. Ottoo's village, we boarded motorbike taxis called Boda Boda. We arrived at Ottoo's village near a small, beautiful shopping center where every activity seemed to evolve. The first person we met was Ottoo's father, who briefed us about the procedure of the funeral. First, we were to meet with the clan elders of the community at the shrine in the hills for blessing and burial permission. Then we were to join the burial committee, which sits in the evenings at the town center. Ottoo pledged to his father to honor his brother's memory during the burial. Initially, our meeting with the clan elders was full of confusion. You see, Mr. Ottoo had grown up in America and was not privy to local customs. The clan elders explained the widow inheritance tradition of the tribe. Widows are inherited by brothers-in-law. However, if the widow dies before being inherited, a ritual called widow cleansing night must be performed on the woman's body before she is buried. In this rite, a mentally challenged man called the village madman spent the night locked in a room with the dead woman. Ottoo and I were shocked. Ottoo told the clan elders he did not want that rite performed for his brother's wife. The elders were also shocked that Ottoo was not willing to follow the customs of the tribe. However, they told him the only person who can authorize that is the community healer. We went to see the community healer. We put our case before the community healer, who listened keenly, nodding. I could see he did not mind letting Mr. Ottoo have his way. Then suddenly, he turned away and shut up. A few seconds later, his assistant came in and ordered us to leave immediately. When we got out, he asked in horror, "Why did you handle his walking stick? That's an abomination." But you see, we didn't know. The stick had been on the wall, and I just took it and started tapping on the floor. I didn't know it was wrong to touch it. The burial committee meetings were in the evenings. Since it was early, we went to the lakeside to consider our options. The only option was to convince the burial committee not to undergo that widow inheritance right. Ottoo took me on a brief stroll through the village as we headed to town. The committee told us they were in a dilemma, as they could not find a madman in the village nearby to perform the widow cleansing ceremony. Some members of the burial committee explained to us the significance of the widow cleansing ceremony and the belief that if it is not performed, the community will be cursed. They were concerned long faces as they discussed the absence of the madman. As tension rose, I thought I should jump in and provide an alternative solution. We have a saying where I come from: the best way to eat an elephant in your path is to cut it into little pieces. I confronted the committee about the cleansing ritual, demanding that it should be discontinued in their tribe, as this custom was out of tune with modern times. Medical science has determined that some persons labeled as madmen were simply their kin and kith who were suffering mental illness and need care, not condemnation. This struck a chord. I could see some people nodding in agreement. I added that sometimes the so-called madmen over generations have become respected icons in the community despite them being different. I concluded we all suffer some form of mental challenge sometimes. It all depends on the degree. The vice chair of the burial committee shouted at Mr. Ottoo, "Does your guest think we are mad people here?" I replied on behalf of Mr. Ottoo. I said, "No, I didn't say there are mad people here. I said anybody can be mad depending on the circumstances." I see, he nodded thoughtfully. I pondered over his attitude even as I proposed an alternative ritual that involves honoring the widow without resorting to ancient practices, thus empowering the community to reconsider their traditions. We should have got concerned when finger pointing started. The committee was divided into several, those for my idea and those against. The division got wider as some members started staging a walk away. At a dark corner of the bar, there was huddled at a table a group speaking in hushed voices. We realized that it was the group that was opposing my opinion. The famous African proverb says, "You have to heal the wound before it ignores the medicine." I asked Mr. Ottoo to investigate what was going on with that group. When he came back, he pulled me aside and advised me to go slow. I should have listened to him. I did not. I had got some followers too, some women who said I was right. I set out to impress them. The committee vice chair said loudly that they have heard my words of wisdom from the honorable guest. That is me, I thought proudly. He requested Mr. Ottoo to take me to another location in the bar as the committee finalized the burial details. Since the committee was handling the burial for him, Mr. Ottoo obediently carried our drinks to the counter where we sat and drank, drowning our sorrows. We should have been intrigued by the ongoing whispering around us. We didn't. Suddenly, lots of drinks began flowing to our counter. The counter where we sat was full of beer bottles and other alcoholic beverages. I should have revisited the East Coast warning, Hakuna cha bure, meaning there is nothing for free. But by then, I was almost enjoying the ambience, proud that I had created a major change in the culture of my friend's people. A bartender was merrily pouring more drinks for us. We began relaxing and chatting, unaware of the committee's intentions. Unbeknown to us, the elders began conspiring against us. Through the alcohol haze, I noticed Mr. Ottoo getting intoxicated and slapping over the counter unconscious. I thought, good for him, to forget about the death of his brother's wife. I don't remember when I passed out myself. But I was in a dream, was I? In the dream, I felt myself being carried through the back door of the bar. Then I felt myself being undressed. When I came to, I was alone, half-dressed, lying on a wide mat in an unfamiliar hut, dimly lit by a smoky hurricane lamp. I could see on the other side of the room there was someone asleep on the bed. On the bed. Asleep? Panic set in as I realized the grave situation I was in. It was the lifeless body of the widow. I looked around in horror. I desperately shouted for help. I got up, banging on the wall, and on the locked door. However, my shouts for help were met with complete silence surrounding me. After several attempts, I broke down the door and raced out into the moonlight, unsure of where to go. I just wanted to get away, far away from the village. I fled the village into the moonlight, running into the dense forest, overgrown trees and the thick underbrush tearing at me. I stopped to catch my breath at an open space amid trees. In the moonlight, I was trying to recollect my thoughts, relieved to be away but confused about my next move. I started running again and must have stopped 20 kilometers away. The sun was just rising. Feeling confused and thirsty, I approached the first villager I encountered. She recoiled in horror. She ran to a group of village women and the children fetching water at the river for her safety. The villagers, upon seeing me in a state of distress and disarray, misunderstood my situation. The more I approached them to seek help, the more the villagers recoiled in fear. The villagers were avoiding me and I could not understand why. The misunderstanding continued as I walked on into the village. I would attempt to explain myself but failed as everyone ran off, further complicating my predicament. I was pleading for help. I felt desperate. Feeling hopeless, I sat down at the village market. Someone whispered loud enough for me to hear, "Madman." Then something hit my confused mind. Something I had said at the burial committee meeting. We are all mad in some way, depending on the degree of madness. This is when I stopped running. There's an African saying, you can outrun what is after you, but you cannot outrun what is inside you. A kind woman approached me cautiously, offering me some water. Other villagers looked suspiciously, some holding sticks for protection. Soon, other mamas approached and gave me something to eat. Eventually, the village nurse came and talked to me. The wise ones say, if you don't know where you are going, remember where you came from. I remember riding back the way I came from. Almost. When I caught sight of the lake, it had never looked so beautiful. I laughed and laughed. Then I realized I was laughing like a madman. If you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Also, post your comments. Did you watch Kaka's previous videos? The Love Inferno and the Sour Milk Love? Check out a new video out every Saturday. Subscribe to jambotales.co.ke.